Hello everyone, Beauty Matters is back, and today we are joined by a model to talk about modeling and fashion industry. Naeem. Hello Naeem.
Hi Lin.
Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having you. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, just under the weather a little bit.
Oh, bless you. Try and make you feel better today though.
I'm very excited for the show. Naeem, you are a model for 3 years now?
That's correct, yeah, just over 3 years, yeah.
What attracted you to modeling first?
Do you know what, I kind of just fell into it. Like, you know, I'd be lying if I said I had a burning passion for it growing up or anything. I mean, of course, you know, when you see models on billboards or in magazines, there's always a bit of you that thinks, oh, that's pretty cool, you know, it'd be pretty awesome to be there. But I never in my life imagined that I would go into modeling. And I just had a friend who's a photographer and he wanted to do some test shoots, and he was like, oh, do you mind just being like my muse or something, you know, just as a just for a bit of fun. And I really enjoyed being in front of the camera, loved every second of it. And I was like, do you know what, maybe I can look into this. And then I started building a portfolio, started approaching agencies, clients, and it literally just went from there. And
you've been in London Fashion Week?
I have, yes. I've been lucky, I'm blessed to have done 4 seasons in London Fashion Week now. Yeah.
How London Fashion Week is different to any other?
I mean, London Fashion Week is London Fashion Week,
of course, the word described itself, but
exactly.
Tell me from model point of view.
I mean, the fashion weeks, you know, the major world fashion weeks are New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, and of course London Fashion Week. So it's like in the top 4 major world fashion shows and fashion weeks. So, and you know, people from all over the world come to London Fashion Week because it's, you know, London's one of the major hubs of fashion. So London Fashion Week is just huge. So to be part of such a huge platform, it's a massive opportunity, and to have done it, like I said, and be blessed to have done it for 4 seasons,
and you will continue to do it in the future?
Yes, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, eventually I'm sure there'll be a new crop of models that comes through, but for now, if I can get it every season, I'm definitely going to be doing it every season, for sure.
And Naeem, as I know about you, it's not your first job, so you have a career and then you started modeling. So can you tell me a little bit more about what you do?
Sure, I'm actually an optometrist, and I've been practicing in optometry for about 10 years. And that was my full-time career up until 3 years ago. And then I said I've got into modeling, and now it's sort of 50-50. So I haven't completely left the world of optometry. I'm still doing that, I'm still practicing. And then the other half of my life is the modeling side. So it's 2 completely different things. Yeah. So half the time I'm in a dark room looking into people's eyes, and then the other time I'm in front of the camera or I'm on the catwalk. So it's 2 completely different worlds, but 2 worlds that I love equally. So
do you see modeling career challenging in a way?
It is challenging. I mean, you know, it gets the fashion industry gets a bit of a rep, and you know, I think a lot of people are aware, even those that aren't in the industry, that modeling is really tough. And it's just because it's so competitive. You know, you're not guaranteed any work. You can be signed with an agency, you can approach loads of different clients, but you still have to attend castings, and you go to castings. And best way to describe it, a casting is like a job interview. Yeah. Except at this job interview, there will be 100 other applicants. So, you know, you're there and you think, oh yeah, you know, I've been shortlisted for this casting, for this job. It's great. I'm sure I got a great chance. And you go in and then, like I said, there's another 50, 100 models there after one job. So it's super competitive. And so much rejection because of that. So the amount of times you get no's, whether it's from clients or agencies, but you just have to book that one amazing job for it to be worthwhile.
Yeah, we talked a little bit before the show about how it can affect the model who they have maybe like they are not strong enough mentally, let's say, when they have rejections. So how do you personally deal with it, and what's your opinion about it?
I think again, it's no secret that you have to be very thick-skinned to be in the industry, because as I was saying, of the rejection. You need to be strong. I mean, we were saying this before, you know, models do have a lot of insecurities, and I think that's partly why a lot of people go into modeling, because it's almost like when you book jobs or when you see yourself in a magazine or you see yourself on the catwalk, it's almost like you got that validation, I think, in a way. So people that are insecure, I think, find some kind of field like that to go into.
It's like worthy in a way.
Yeah, which can like go both ways. You know, if you do well, it's really good for your self-esteem, but if you don't, it cannot be so great. So you have to be really thick-skinned, and you have to be able to take rejection. And I think I've got very supportive friends, and a lot of my family is quite supportive as well. And then I've got an alternative career as well, so that sort of helps.
Yeah.
But I think if I was modeling full time and I was completely by myself and I was getting so much rejection, I think it would be super hard. So you need to be secure enough to be able to handle the pressure and to be able to handle the rejection.
Yeah. And how modeling is different between women and men, and also if you can explain more about it to me.
Well, I think it's one of the industries where women are, of course, at the forefront when it comes to fashion. There's a lot more fashion out there for women. There always has been. I mean, it is changing. There's, of course, a lot more for guys now as well. But it's still predominantly very female orientated, whether it's models, whether it's the designers, or whether it's the makeup artists.
So they have like more opportunities.
So they have more opportunities, yeah. So because there's a lot more for women, there's a lot more availability, there's a lot more work for women compared to guys. I mean, it's one of the rare industries where women get paid more than the guys, and a lot of the time us guys, we can just be accessories. So, you know, if it's like a makeup campaign for the woman or like a jewelry campaign for the woman, we'll kind of just be there in the background, or we'll be like the model's partner, you know, something like that. So it's, like I said, it is changing, but it's still a very female dominated industry, and therefore women tend to do a lot better than the male models, to be honest. So it's quite tough for men in the industry.
You touched about changing, and let's talk about evolving in terms of modeling industry. Do you think it's evolving? Because I personally seen it changing over time, even like in terms of sizes and curves, and so there are more rather than like a certain size and skinny. So what's your view about it?
Yes, definitely. I think the fashion industry is changing. If we look at where it was a decade ago, like you pretty much hit the nail on the head. There's petite models, there's curvier models, and a lot of top modeling agencies have these categories and these divisions on their books now, where they are catering for all kinds of models. I think we still have a very long way to go, though. I mean, especially when it comes to diversity in terms of ethnicity, and that's a huge thing that I almost campaign for, that there aren't enough ethnic models in the industry. You just have to look at the top agencies in the world, especially in London and the UK. I would say about 90-95% of the books are full of Caucasian European models, and not enough Asians, and not even enough, I would say, Afro-Caribbean models. So I think there's definitely room for improvement, but I think we are slowly getting there. We will eventually get there, but I think there's a long way to go.
So Naeem, what do you think will speed it up, like for these changes to happen quicker?
I think it's a bit of everything, to be honest with you, Lynn. I think models equally, as well as clients, as well as agencies, really need to push. Models need to push themselves if they are for ethnic minority, or if they are curvier, if they're smaller. They really need to push. You know, you can't just go to a few agencies and get a no and then just sit back and not do anything about it. You have to keep pushing. You have to prove these people wrong. On the flip side, agencies and clients need to be more open and saying, you know, we can sell campaigns if an Asian face is fronting it. And I don't think that's happening enough. So I think it's a bit of everyone in the industry really has to play their role in terms of getting the diversity out there.
And I know it's a very tricky question, but who's your favorite designer?
Oh, that's a really
tricky one.
Do you know what? There's so many designers, of course, isn't there? But I actually landed my dream job a month ago. I worked for Manish Malhotra, which is one of the biggest designers in the world, and he is the biggest designer in South Asia, in India. He does all the Bollywood celebrities, he does all the major stars. So I managed to work for him last month, which was absolutely amazing. And to work for your dream designer was literally a dream come true. So but in terms of European designers, you know, there's so many. You know, I would love to work for Armani, Ted Baker, but it's, you know, it's all about opportunities. And sometimes you have to be realistic in terms of, do you fit that market? And if you don't fit that market, although you can push and push and push, you may never eventually get there. But never say never.
Yeah, in terms of modeling, is it always need to be through agency, or how do you go about getting jobs?
You could do a bit of both, actually. So you can be with agents. A lot of really high-end jobs, unfortunately, will only come to an agency. So, you know, if you're looking to model for high big brands, or, you know, huge catwalk shows like London Fashion Week, a lot of the time they come through agencies. So you need to try and get yourself in there with a very good agency who's got a reputation that's for being a good agent. But you can get freelance. I've got some of my London Fashion Week shows I've got freelance, and that's just from attending the castings. And social media is so huge now, with anything, but especially in this industry. So you can come across castings on social media if you follow certain pages, certain clients, designers, photographers. They're always looking for models, so you can just approach them via Instagram, Facebook, or email.
Personal contact.
Building networks, and you could just get yourself in there that way. So actually you can. I know a lot of models who refuse to be with agents because they don't want to be contracted, they don't want to be tied in. So I have a lot of model friends who are freelancers, and they're doing amazingly well.
So you work in the UK and outside?
I do. Again, I've been quite blessed in that I have had some international contracts.
Let me tell me a bit more about it.
Yeah, so last year I was scouted by an agency in Cape Town, Cover Model Management, and they were fantastic. So I flew out and I spent 3 months out there, did my first season there. And it's a very commercial market out there, which I think I fit really well in compared to sort of your high fashion. So it's very much about being happy, being smiley, being relatable, a lot of TV commercials and things like that. So I was blessed that I had a fantastic time out there for 3 months, and I hope to go there again very soon. I'm hoping. My agent's calling for me. They're like, you need to get back here. And I'm like, I'm trying. I've got so many commitments here. But that was amazing. I've done a little bit of modeling in Pakistan as well. And then I'm hoping it's almost becomes a bucket list. So there's like, okay, what city can I sort of conquer next? But I'm just like, you know what, just hold on for now and just try and stick with the jobs that you're getting here. And like I said, I will be going Cape Town again, hopefully soon.
So Naeem, you are a model, but are you into fashion really, or is it just the job itself?
Lin, if I'm completely honest with you, for a model, I have the worst fashion sense. I borrow my brother's clothes. He's a lot more fashionable than I am. So I mean, since I started modeling, I think I've had a lot more interest in it than I did before, to be honest. So now when you start working for certain designers and you look at the creativity that goes on with the designs now, also, with the whole environmental issues, there's a lot of sustainable fashion now as well.
Yeah, we noticed that in London Fashion Week, they are trying to use a material which doesn't harm the environment. Yeah,
I mean, it's fantastic. So, you see people showing that kind of initiative and, coming up with such amazing designs. And like I said, that are so creative. I mean, last season I worked for someone called Patrick Joseph, and his designs were crazy, and just in a good way. They were so creative, they were sustainable as well. So I think, in terms of that, even though I would be lying if I said I had a massive sort of interest in fashion beforehand, but since being in this industry, I have such huge sort of I guess I respect and I admire fashion designers a lot for how much work goes into it and how much creativity there is in the industry.
Yeah, because maybe when we look to the show, we just see the end result of it, but we don't see the hard work behind it.
You don't see the hard work behind it, and for us models, it's hard work for us, in that we're there from quite early on, and then we're trying on all these clothes, and then you could be there from 8 o'clock in the morning, but you don't get out on the catwalk until 8 o'clock in the evening. So, you still have to keep that energy up, and you need to look positive, and you need to look like you know what you're doing on the catwalk. But these designers are there for even longer. They've been prepping for months and months and months. They've been there actually from scratch designing these clothes and these outfits, and then even on the day, us models, we get changed and we just give the clothes back to the designers, but they're the ones that are having to pack it all up. They're always the last ones to leave. So there's so much work that goes on behind them, and I have a lot of admiration for them.
So what makes a good model?
Oh, that's a tough question.
What does make a question?
What makes a good model? Do you know what? You're opening a can of worms, because there's just so much. Honestly, I think it's such a huge misconception that models need to be good looking. That's not true at all. I think to a certain extent you need to have obviously some of the aesthetics, but that's more to do with your sort of your stats. So, are you going to fit the clothes? Do you have the height? Do you have the right size that will fit the outfits? But the main thing is actually, and especially with the industry now, it's very health conscious. So it's about, do you have healthy skin? healthy hair, healthy nails, healthy teeth, because
They check that.
they do check all of that, because you know, if you're booking campaigns which is like, you know, smiling and you're being happy, you need to have good teeth, you need to have healthy teeth. You know, if it's a hair campaign, you need to have healthy hair. Again, with nails and hands and, you know, things like that, because everything's going to be in shot, you know. So even if you're walking down the catwalk, people watching that are going to be looking at the clothes, but they're also going to be looking at you. So, you know, even just the smallest thing, people will be able to tell. And more than that, you know, you don't need to necessarily, as I said, have a very strong look otherwise. I think if you know how to work in front of the camera, you know, even if you don't have a great walk, that can be worked on. So I think you need to have confidence and be proactive, because it's a super difficult industry to be in. And I think if you've got a great personality as well, because a lot of it is behind the scenes that you don't see. So, you know, how do you get on with the photographer? How do you get on with the client? Are you a good person to work with? Because if you are, they will take you on again. If you're not, they're going to, reputation, you know, it can go just like that in the industry. So rather than what your looks are all about, it's a lot more to do with how you are as a person. So confidence and how respectable you are.
And you should build like this network, let's say. It's important in this industry.
Yeah, I think it's like that with anything in life, to be honest with you. I think building those connections is super important, and unfortunately it is sometimes one of those things about who you know rather than what you know sometimes, which can be a little bit frustrating at times. But you know, if you need to be in the industry long enough to understand how it works and to build those relationships.
Yeah, I know you do coaching as well.
Yes.
So that's after Top Model.
Yes, so I won Top Model last year, 2018. I was the men's winner, and then since then they've invited me back actually to coach sort of the future contestants that are coming through, because they didn't have a male coach before. It was normally just focused on the women, and the men's category is getting bigger and bigger every year. So it's great to be back to coach, give them a bit of confidence, you know, and tell them that I was in the position once. You know, if they need any tips on how to walk, how to present themselves, you know. And as I said, because it's not just about what you look like in front of the camera, it is how you present yourself a lot as well.
Do you have coaching strategy, or is it depending on the person, like one-to-one case?
It really does depend on the person, because you know, some people will need more help than others. I think you have a general idea. So if you've got a group of people there, then you know, you will be giving out certain tips to everyone. But then you know, you watch every single guy, you know, walk, and every single girl walk, and you see where some may need more help than others, and some may need different type of help than others. Some people might have a really good walk, but then they're lacking in other parts, and vice versa. So you kind of need to change your sort of strategy in terms of the coaching, depending on the model or the contestant that's there.
Okay, and is Top Model is kind of like academy to teach you how to do things, and they choose a final, or how they run it?
Yeah, so Top Model isn't really it's not about being coached really. It's
competition?
It's more of a competition, I guess. Yeah, so you know, you apply to potentially win this competition, and you know, I applied because my friend did it the year before, and she actually won the Natural Beauty category, Zara Sheikh, amazing model. And she told me about it, and she's like, you know what, I really think you should apply. I think you do really well. I was like, I'm not sure. And then I did, and you know, I went and won the whole thing, which is amazing. And so it's a competition. First and foremost, and the winner, it just opens so many doors for you. You know, you get known and recognized in the industry, but the good thing about it is, whilst you're competing with everyone else, you are being coached, because you know, the people are there to help you. There's people from London Fashion Week, there's people from Vogue, there's people who have been in the industry for decades telling you what needs to be done for you to win. And it's called Top Model UK for a reason. You know, they're looking for a top model, and they're going to coach you, and they're going to teach you in terms of how to become a top model. And it's not a televised program, so you know, it's not a reality TV show where you know, it's all about drama and it's all about you know, making good TV. It's actually about becoming a good model.
Yeah, so it's all real.
Yes.
We said that modeling, maybe it's not all about beauty, and there are other things like the model should consider. But when you say a model, you will link it somehow with beauty. So how you see it yourself?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You do, don't you? As soon as, even before I joined the industry, you think of model and you just think about someone who's amazingly good looking, who people aspire to, and yeah, of course, you know, you have your good looking models, but it's not just about that. I think beauty matters, ironically, you know, beauty does matter, but the industry, you know, it depends. There's a market for everything, there really is, you know. There's I think if you're looking at the more commercial side of modeling, which is like your TV adverts, and you know, you're selling toothpaste, or you know, you're selling like shampoo and things like that, you know, then they'll normally look for the boy next door or the girl next door, you know, your typical pretty or handsome faces. But the high fashion stuff like catwalk and higher big brand high-end designers, they look for more sort of quirky beauty. So you know, you'll have looks that, you know, they might have funny ears, or they might have sort of oddly shaped features, and they have really sharp bone structure, because they're looking for that unique sort of X factor almost, something that really stands out, because that then helps the design stand out.
What about the models who they call themselves model on social media? So it's a trend, I can call it, like everyone who's have like nice photos or a good gallery, like they start to call themselves model. Are you into the social media world in terms of modeling, and how do you see it as a model who's do a like London Fashion Week or commercial modeling?
It's a positive and a negative for models, to be honest with you. It's and I'm honestly, my mind changes every day when it comes to social media models, because you have to give it to them, you know, and social media has done a lot for all of us, especially models, because potentially, you know, we wouldn't be getting the work that we would now if it wasn't for social media. The diversity wouldn't be there if it wasn't for social media. But on the flip side, everyone on social media thinks they're a model. Yeah. So, you know, everyone on Instagram, you know, they can take some pretty pictures, add loads of filters, and, you know, look, I'm a model.
It is.
So it's making life harder for professional working models, because professional working models are now losing out jobs because of social media models, who, like I said, rely a lot on just the social media aspects of the whole beauty and the industry, really. So unfortunately, I would say I'm not a fan of it for that reason. Because I feel like, you know, maybe that hard work isn't there as much as someone who's physically going to castings and physically going to agencies, and, you know, really having to push hard and work hard, having to compete with people just because they've got 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers on the Instagram. And it's a shame, because even now agencies and clients are looking at people's social media as a professional model, and you're competing not only with normal working models, but you're now also competing with social media model and influencers on social media as well.
And there's lots of, just also personal opinion, lots of ladies I like trying to copy. It can be, I talk about this point quite a lot on my show, because I feel like we are not raising the awareness good enough on the effect of social media on people, like how much they are putting weight and pressure on themselves, trying to look for perfection. I do talk a lot about it on my show, just because I feel it's not highlighted enough. And the more we copy, the more we'll be closer to perfection. So you can see from like one profile to 100, kind of, you can recognize one from the other. People are going out from being themselves to being different character and different look to, I don't know, to fit, let's say.
Absolutely, Lynn. And that's just social media. So, you know, it's like that with every aspect, and the fashion industry and the modeling industry is just one of those. And speaking for personal experience, you know, social media has had and can have a negative effect on your mental health, and it can have a negative effect because you're continuously comparing yourself to other people. So, you know, you're looking at how many followers other models have, or how many likes other models have, and you're seeing certain things that other models are getting just because they've got a larger social media following. And that can make you feel pretty rubbish about yourself. So even if you're a good model and you're booking good work, you're still continuously comparing yourself to other people. You're continuously trying to get that validation on social media. Whereas, you know, day to day, if you get no from a casting agent or normal modeling agency, it's fine. You go home, you're not comparing yourself to anything. But when you're at home, then scrolling through your feed continuously, you've got something more there, unfortunately, to continuously compare yourself to. And it's like that with, you know, so many young boys and girls that are looking up to people on social media, and that's become their lifelong goal now, is to be like that person, to have an X amount of followers, X amount of likes. And if they don't, you know, it's having such a bad effect on their mental health. And I think, you know, it's like with anything in life, you can use social media and use it in a positive way. You know, you can use it as a way to put yourself out there and get jobs, but on the flip side, you have to be really careful that it doesn't get you down. And my recommendation would be, is if there's anyone on your social media, on your Instagram, on your Facebook, and you're scrolling through it and you genuinely like this person's feed and you like what they're doing, but it makes you feel a bit bad yourself,
it's harming yourself,
just get rid of the person. You know, no matter how much you like what you're seeing, if it makes you feel bad or if it makes you feel insecure, just unfollow them, or just defend them, just for your own peace of mind and your own mental health. Because then when you're going through the feed, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
Because talking about social media models especially, what we are seeing as a photo, there are lots of work behind it. So it's also important for people don't to expect they woke up like that. There are work behind it. And don't feel rubbish exactly if you are looking to yourself when you woke up and you are not looking the same, because these people don't look like themselves when they woke up.
It's like the whole, you know, the hashtag I woke up like this. No, you did not wake up like this. And you know what, Lynn, we're all guilty of it. I've done it, you know. I've taken pictures when I've woken up, and you know, if for any reason my abs are looking half decent that morning, I will take a topless picture and put it on my social media. But what people don't realize is I've positioned myself in a certain way, I've got the lighting in a certain way, I've got the camera a certain way, I've then added God knows how many filters on top to try and make my torso look half decent, and it's just fake.
Yeah, that's really nice of you to share it with us, but I think it is raising awareness and so important in these days.
Yeah, and that's, you know, and I think as a model, or like someone like yourself, who when you are somewhere in the industry, I think we have a voice, and I think it's our duty to really share what we know about it and really try and influence other people in a positive way, and show that there is another side to social media, and you know, it is potentially, a lot of it is quite fake.
And people who they are wanting to get into modeling industry, what's required by them? What's the steps they need to take?
Okay, I get this question a lot. You know, I get a lot of people asking me, how do I get into the industry? You know, what does it take? First and foremost, you need to understand the industry in terms of what's marketable. So, you know, a lot of people don't realize there's so many different types of modeling. You know, there's the catwalk, there's the editorial, which comes under sort of high fashion. Then, as I was saying before, there's commercial modeling, which is, you know, typically your pretty boy, pretty girl type of look, which, by the way, there's a huge market in commercial modeling. You can be any age, you can be any size, because, you know, if you need to sell this table, you know, they're looking for everyday people. If you want to sell these chairs, you know, anyone can be sat here, you know, I'm sitting on this chair. So, you know, commercial modeling, it's a market for everything. But if you are looking for that typical runway, catwalk, editorial, you unfortunately do need to be a certain height. Normally it's 6 foot for guys and 5'7" for women, because you need to fit the clothes. It's as simple as that. And same with editorial fashion magazines, same thing. So you need to understand what market you fit into. Once you know which market you fit into and it's something that you want to go for, start building a portfolio.
Being comfortable in front of the camera, is it one of the important criteria, you think? Yes,
but you can learn that. So, you know, you don't have to be amazing in front of the camera straight away. You know, it comes with experience, which is why if you've got any photographer friends, and there's so many people that you can get hold of who will be willing to do test shoots for free, just so you can build that experience in front of the camera. And once you've got a bit of a portfolio, you can then start approaching agencies and you can start approaching clients even online. But obviously just be careful when you are approaching people online, because there are some not very nice people out there. So always do your research before you get into anything.
So I do hear about things that can go wrong because people who interested in the field but reached the wrong people. So is there like is there a place where you can check, or how you will know, especially we are talking now, but I'm sure that people who they are listening, many of them who they want to try are scared from this point, because we do hear lots of stories about things can go wrong because people reached the wrong agency or the wrong, or a fake agency.
Yeah, it is a difficult one, and there are some websites online that you can actually go and see where there's a whole list. The British Fashion Council has got a website where you can have a look.
So that's one of them?
That's one of them, where they have a list of legit agencies. As a rule of thumb, if you're not sure, you should not be paying any money. Just sign with an agency. Okay, if they're asking for money, alarm bells should start ringing, because if an agency really believes in you, and if they want you to pay for a portfolio or they want to pay for certain things, they will take it out of your wages. They will not ask for an upfront fee. That's the first thing. Secondly, never ever go to a test shoot or to an agency by yourself if you're young, and especially if you're a woman. Okay, if a photographer approaches you online and wants to do a test shoot, always take someone with you. Take a friend, take a family member with you, because you don't know who this person is going to be.
Yeah.
And do your research. You know, be sensible. If you are approaching random photographers or random clients, look at their pages, look at their social medias, see what kind of work they've done before, see what kind of following they have on social media and who are they following, and it will give you an idea. So really just do your research before you get out there, whether it's an agency or a client.
Yeah, because sometimes this excitement and this illusion,
you get carried away.
Yeah,
you get carried away, and you know, I've done it in the past. You know, I know people who have done it in the past. They've got carried away, and someone said really nice things to them, and they said, "Oh, you can be a model, and you know, you're this tall, and you've got an amazing look. You know, we want to sign you, but to be signed with us, you need to get some pictures taken, and that's going to cost you £200." And you know, it's not even a photographer. You know, it's someone like you and I, or anyone who's just picked up a DSLR and started taking pictures just to get £200-300 out of you. So just do your research. Really do your research beforehand. I mean, I am hoping to at some point, I need a bit of help, but I'm actually thinking about maybe organising some kind of website or some kind of social media group, because that question does get put forward a lot, and unfortunately you can't sit there and answer every single person's query. So I'm hoping at some point in the future, if I can sort of build some kind of group or website or something along those lines, where I can have models who are budding models coming into it in the future, because you know, you don't want for them to make certain mistakes.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you are saying, and it's important for expert people and people who they've been in the field to give the right advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these people don't know any better. You know, I didn't know any better when I started, so it would have been nice if someone was there to guide me along the way. I think if you get a good agency from the offset, you're fine, because a good agency will guide you and they will direct you. But if you're not lucky enough to get in with a good agency, then it's quite difficult.
Do you have any model who inspire you?
Do you know what? That's kind of a difficult question again, because firstly, there's so many models, and secondly, I feel like in a way I'm kind of my own inspirational competition, if you like. But there is a model called Niall DiMarco. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's an American model, Italian heritage, and he was the first ever deaf America's Next Top Model winner. And being deaf, profoundly deaf, he's a really good model. He's done really well for himself, and he's walked for Armani. You know, he's worked with some amazing designers, and you know, it's really tough being a model as it is, and to do it whilst you're deaf. You know, you can't take direction, you can't hear direction, you can't hear what the photographer's saying, you can't hear what the videographer's saying, and to be able to do all that and still do so well, I think is amazing. So I think it just goes to show you can have any kind of disability, whether you've got hearing loss, whether you've got any physical disability, and if you've got the passion and you
show determination. If you're determined to do something, like nothing will stop you.
Exactly. You know, I can sit here and say, you know, I'm not 6 foot tall, or you know, I'm not 18 years old. You know, I'm not your typical European high fashion look, and therefore I'm not going to do anything about it. But you know, if you've got a passion for it, you will keep working.
It's an interesting question for me. Is there a age limit for modeling?
Again, yes and no. So I'm 31. So that's relatively old for a model. I think male models, I hate to say this, but can maybe get away with it a bit more than female models. But honestly, Lynn, it's how old you look. Okay, you can be 35, but if you look like you're 20 years old, you'll be absolutely fine. But again, if you want to go into commercial modeling, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be sold that are targeted at
age.
30s or 40s or 50s. So, you know, you might not be walking Milan Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week at the age of 50, but there will be other modeling that will be available for you. So, you know, don't count yourself out just because you're a certain age. Having said that, I've seen models of that age on the catwalk as well. So you just never know. So yes, I did. Some of the high-end clients and high-end agencies do look for younger models. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story, but I actually walked into Models One, which is a massive agency. It's like the biggest in the world. And I knew I probably don't fit the books, but I thought, let's give it a try. And I walked in and there were 14, 15-year-old models there sitting there with their parents. And I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, I look like one of their parents. So I knew straight away I'm not going to be right for that market, but I thought, let's give it a go. And unfortunately, I didn't get in with the agency, but at least I tried, because you never know, they might just like the look of that one person and say, actually, you might be this age, but we're going to take you. So never say never.
Can start really early, in like 14 is...
Yeah, so normally with 14, 15-year-olds you can, but obviously you always need to have a parent or guardian with you when you're going on certain jobs and so on. But yeah, you can start that young. Yeah, I started when I was 28 though. Yeah. So, you know, you can also start much later. Like I said, there's a market for everything.
Naeem, thank you so much for being with me. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Lynn. It's been an absolute pleasure being here, actually, and to be able to voice certain things and things that I feel strongly about in the industry. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for the advice and raising awareness about important points, sharing your own stories.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lynn.
And for you, my viewers, stay with me on ALB UK TV, Beauty Matters.